folks, Loki here, and today we're going to be looking at capping, scoring, and some basic strategy for Conquest in Guild Wars 2 PvP. Now, Conquest is all about capping and capturing points or nodes, whichever you prefer, and those capture points are relative to your starting base or respawn point. Now, here on Forest of Niflhel, I'm on the blue team, and so the capture points that are spread across the map are in relation to blue, home, mid, and far. Now, obviously, if I was on red team, that would be in the reverse.
I could outrun a
Pretty
centaur.
simple. Just a quick note that if you are on the EU server, you will hear home referred to as close. I often swap between the two because I play on both servers, NA and EU. But, you know, your home close point is relative to your starting base or respawn point. Now, the one map that does tend to trip a few people up or get a little bit confusing as to which point is where
I could
is
outrun a
on
centaur.
Legacy of the Foe Fire. So I'm going to load that map up for you and just explain what trips people up so you don't make that mistake. Okay, so here we are on the Legacy of Foe Fire map, and I am currently a part of Red Team. Now, what trips people up on this map is the fact that you can access both side nodes from the starting base. Okay, now, being red in this instance, this is home, mid, and far. And obviously, if you're blue, it's in the reverse. When you look at the map in map view like this, it's even now, it still looks like, you know, a kind of equidistance. You can be tripped up by it, but, you know, I can assure you that this point is definitely closer to red, and that is the closest point for blue. Now, I've seen players tripped up by this, and one of the worst mistakes I've seen is,
Replenishing.
you know, people bunking far, thinking that they're bunking home. Now, when you treat far point as if it's home,
I could outrun a centaur.
you are gonna seriously frustrate and piss off your teammates, because with you treating far like it's home, you're not fitting in with what the rest of your team is trying to do. So, you know, square peg, round hole, basically. So that's the difference. Now you know, don't make a mistake, and you will be fine, and you will only have to deal with the regular amounts of toxicity in-game. In Conquest, you win by scoring 500 points before the opposition does, or it is whichever team has the highest number of points at the expiration of 15 minutes of game time. Now, as I explained at the beginning of the video, your primary goal is to capture points or nodes across the map. Now, to cap a point, basically all you need to do is stand on it. You only need one player. Please don't make the mistake of thinking that multiple players will increase the capping rate. It makes no difference, and it does nothing but
I could outrun a centaur.
aggravate your teammates when they see you doing it. Stealth, you cannot cap or contest a point when you're in stealth. There are a few defensive skills or traits that may interfere with capping. I'm not able to give you, you know, an itemized list of those because I'm not an expert
They'll
on
have to
every
hit much
class
harder.
and have never claimed to be. So make sure you learn your class and don't, you know, activate skills that will
I could outrun a
interrupt you
centaur.
capping when you need to. Now, the three main ways that a node can be interacted with is capping it, contesting it, or decapping. Now, at lower levels of ranked or
I
in
could outrun a
unranked,
centaur.
you're not going to see players don't put a lot of value in a decap, and it's because at your lower ranks, people just generally don't understand the value of a decap, and that's coupled with, you know, a poor knowledge or understanding of rotation. And when we talk about rotation in PvP, we're talking about rotating around the map. Okay, now you might be wondering where player kills fit in all of this. Killing an opposition player will score you 5 points, but you cannot kill enough players quickly enough to win by doing that alone. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have capped points ticking over and what that means to your team and how that will help you to win. You should always be choosing a capped point over a player kill or a secondary map mechanic. I will be doing a video in the next couple of weeks regarding secondary map mechanics and where and how they can trip people up. But for now, I just want you to focus on, you know, capping points and understanding how capping, contesting, and decap works. So a good example of capping an uncontested point is at the start of the match, when you're all running out of base, and typically, you know, someone will go home and the rest of you will go mid. You know, you're standing there on your own, not a worry in the world, and all you need to do is stand there and let the point tick over until it caps. That is an uncontested cap. You will see, okay, and in the same scenario where everyone's left base, somebody went home and the rest went mid.
Outrun a centaur.
Mid will be a contested point because there are opposition players standing on point as well, and that's what makes it contested. It's not, when we're talking about contested points, it's not actually the contest of fighting against your opposition. It's the status of the capture node. Okay, and it's also why you're going to see, you know, a lot of people are going to scream out in map chat, you know, stop fighting off point, fight on point, fight on point. Because in the absence of a fully capped point, the longer you can keep it contested, especially in team fights, it stops the other team from capping it, and therefore you're not scoring, but neither are they. It's something, some of these concepts can be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around when not in, you know, an actual match context. So I will be looking through some of my raw footage to find examples of, you know, the differences, so that you've got something to refer to if you want further clarification. Now, decapping is what you do to an opposition's held capture point. So typically, your best example of that, or the more common example of that, would be, you know, going far and you know, decapping it while they're not looking, basically, and you know, that stops them from earning points. So it's all pretty easy stuff. You know, stand on it to cap it, stand on it to fight, stand on it to decap. You know, it's not rocket science. It's pretty easy. But I will say, like, a lot of this sounds easy, but it can be more difficult in its execution. So knowing what to do and being able to do it can be two different things. Okay, so last up, well, second to last actually, I want to talk about opening splits. This is a term that you just aren't really going to see in ranked or unranked anymore. You might come across it if you're working with a team and playing in tournaments. Basically, the opening split refers to where the team is going to go at the commencement of the match when you all first leave base. So somebody might say, oh, you know, split 1-4, which they're saying one person goes home, 4 go mid. You might see a split of 1-3-1, which is 1 home, 3
I could outrun
mid,
a centaur.
1 far. But more often than not, you're not going to see any communication about that in your matches. What I would suggest is if you're playing a class that, you know, that you're going to go and capture home at the outset, tell your team that that's what you're doing, that you're going to go and cap home. If you decide, if you're on,
they'll have to hit much harder,
playing a thief or mesmer or other class that is good at disrupting the opposition, you might decide that at opening you're going to go far and just put them off balance from the outset. Tell your team that that's what you're going to do. It's really frustrating as a member of a team to see, you know, your team's just running around and you don't know who's gone where or what they're doing, or, you know, you're running into mid thinking you've got 4 people with you, but, you know, 3 of them have decided to go far. You know, so just, it's a simple thing, just tell your team what you're going to do. And that's what opening splits are. Opening splits will form, you know, the basis of your strategy, you know, to try and push your own advantage or to throw the other team off balance. You know, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but like, I just can't bang on about it enough. If you're gonna do something, tell your team that that's what you're doing. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to talk about rotation. Now, at its most basic, map rotation is about the choices you make of where to go and why. Okay, you will see, hopefully, you'll see in matches that, you know, people say, oh, they're, you know, we're being out-rotated, or, you know, dude, you know, learn how to rotate. These are the things you're going to see. Now, rotation is definitely one of those things that is very easy, it sounds like, but learning how to do it, you know, optimally can be just seem like an insurmountable task, because basically you're trying to, in a split second, figure out where's the best place to go. Okay, so with rotation, what you want to ask yourself is, where can I push an advantage for my team? That is fundamentally the question you're asking yourself. So let's say, for example, you know, you've died, you're coming out of respawn, and you look at the map and you go, home's capped, mid's capped, where do I go? So then that's when you're looking at your mini-map to sort of go, look, can I see a plague? You know, so you might be looking and, oh, all of a sudden home's contested. So you know that you need to go and defend that point. Again, look, this is something, it's so situational. It's really hard to put it into good context for you. But if you just ask yourself that question, Where can I go that will help my team the most? Where can I push an advantage? And that will sort of serve you in good stead. I think it's something that I will try and put together some sort of example videos.
I could
But
outrun a
it
centaur.
really is, it is so situational that I don't know if it's possible to sort of teach by example. But as I said, just remember that where can I push an advantage? Where can I go that will help my team the most? Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or there is something you'd like to see me do a video on in the future, please leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe so you will not miss out on any of my future videos. Stay slinky, guys, and we'll see you in the mists.